serve here.
Sorry, can I just ask a question
Sure.
about that? Does presentation annotation, no. Well, so where, for instance, would the information be that a particular field is read-only?
In the annotation.
In the presentation annotation?
Yes, but sometimes it's also in the schema annotated, and then the schema takes preference, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So, summarizing, webforms uses the XML schema and uses the XML schema to compose the form, the X form. A new schema automatically creates a new form, so there's no reconfiguration or no reprogramming needed. It's always a usable form. It may be not the most nicest form, and then you need to adapt only those elements that were changed in your annotations. The annotations are governed by a local, simple XML file, and we even have students of mine have produced a small editor to edit that annotation file, but that is still something to develop further, because well, students do that in a small project and don't always produce the nicest software.
But you could use your own system for editing that, couldn't you?
Oh, anything, XML Spy you can use to edit.
Yeah, but I mean, you could use your system.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes. That's also what we were thinking about.
Okay.
yeah, that could be. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. webforms, so the XSLT and everything around it runs completely local. So what goes over the line is plain XML, what you agreed with your trading partner, and it may be that your trading partner is using a very luxury piece of middleware connected with an SAP system, or it is also using webforms. You would not know that the XML is a good standardized XML within your industry or with your trading partner. webforms were based on Xforms, and we did that because Xforms is obviously a W3C standard. It's defining the form in an XHTML document. It is aware of the schema, so all the schema rules are used in the validation of the form. And the browser will take care of the presentation of the instance document. There's a clear separation of data and presentation. That's the whole philosophy behind Xform. And it can support multiple devices. So if well, you have a visual problem, then you can use a browser that is an audio-based browser and still use the same Xforms form, but then in a kind of voice response setting. That was the whole idea of Xforms, if I understood that right. webforms comes in three ways. This is more to start to using webforms, and this slide I always present to the small businesses that would be interested in this tool. You can get an XML message from your trading partner and just look at it. So, for instance, your trading partner sends you an e-invoice in XML format, and you don't know in front whether that is a UBL invoice or a UN SafeUp invoice or a GS1 invoice, but you get it as a read-only form on your screen, and you can approve the invoice and pay it if you really agree with it. And then you save it somewhere on your computer. You can also open a template, what you made before, and fill in the form. A template is just an XML message, but with some data which is not filled in. You get the form on your screen, you fill out the form, and you press the send button, and the form is, the XML is sent to your trading partner. And what we have already implemented, and that's the most complex type, is that you get, for instance, an order from your trading partner, and you press a reply button, and the reply is an order confirmation which takes over a lot of data from the order, because it's not needed to key it in because it was already in the order, and the order confirmation is sent as an XML back to your trading partner. Also the rules, what data to take from the order to the order response, to an invoice for that matter, is coded in the annotation file.
Maybe I'm anticipating what you're about to say, but there's a flow problem about at each step in the flow a different person has access to different fields. You have a method of describing that flow as well?
Well, we didn't invent that method, but those methods exist.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, but we can use EB forms to implement such process. So you would give each of the employees that have different authorizations for doing filling in some data a different annotation file, and for some the data is read-only or fixed, and for others it is editable. And indeed we can, with the third method, we can get in an invoice, for instance, look at the invoice and press a button whether it goes to the director or to the clerk or to another employee that does the next step in the workflow. And then, so yes, EB forms can be used for, let's say, the local implementation per workstation in any workflow.
So far you only described the way you can use XML and XSLT to present a form, right?
Yeah.
But now you also mentioned that you can use EB forms to both receive and send XML. So what transport mechanism is then used? Is it email, is it HTTP, or can it be?
I'll come back to that. Yes, it can be anything, because what at least the XForms engine does that we are using at the moment, but it should be independent from the engine, of course, is saving it as a file on your file system. And then some tool can pick it up, send it over a web service, or send it over email, or send it by any means or methods, encrypted or not.
So EB forms itself doesn't take care of talking to SOAP or to do a SOAP service or...
No. The core of EB forms is just an XSLT script.
Sure.
But we, of course, when we are in a number of pilots now, and when we give EB forms to some small company, we have to package it together with all the tools that does the transportation as well.
So when you mentioned the send button before, there is actually no send button in EB forms, it's rather a save button.
It is a save
and
button.
You can use something else to...
Yes, unless we build some shell around it, then we make the send button do something more than only save.
Yeah.
That's
But
also
XForms can use any transport such as HTTP.
Yeah, which is the same for obviously, which is also valid for XML. You can use any mechanism to interchange the actual data.
Yeah.
But what I was just asking about is it built into EB forms? Well, it is not.
It's not built into EB forms,
Sure.
but we are packaging it in shells that do the transportation mechanism that are needed in some industry.
Yeah, because I guess that you subscribe to the idea that you would need to have some means of transportation for EB forms to be usable. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the present implementation, we have a pilot implementation. I will tell you more about that. We use email for that purpose. Or even FTP, and yeah, we have two companies doing it, and one of them even uses FTP for that purpose. It was not most favorable of that approach, but that was the desire of the university in this case. This is an example of a simple purchase order. Just yesterday, we got the green light for a pilot within a big multinational company in the Netherlands that wants to use it for their smaller customers to send them their orders. The problem with multinational companies is they have huge EDI systems for all their bigger clients and suppliers, but they have a big problem with the smaller customers because they need to maintain call centers, they need to maintain offices that take over faxes that are sometimes not well readable, and that is not only a lot of money involved, but also a lot of mistakes are being made in that, and it costs a lot of time, which is not good in logistics. So they want to try EB forms for their smaller customers, and we make this implementation, this annotation of EB forms for them in the fourth quarter of this year. We will really implement that. So at the end of the year, we will know if they are satisfied enough to roll it out over all their smaller customers. What you see is that we have not only implemented standard form elements as fill out or present, but also selection lists, and even in this